Licensure Examination for teachers. Subject: English. General education, for both elementary and secondary. Topic: Writing in the discipline. Question number 1. Which of the following best defines writing in the discipline, WID? A. The process of writing a personal journal or diary entry. B. A writing approach that focuses on creative storytelling and literary devices. C. The practice of writing for a specific academic field, using its conventions, styles, and rhetorical practices. D. The ability to write without grammatical errors or spelling mistakes. Correct answer: C. The practice of writing for a specific academic field, using its conventions, styles, and rhetorical practices. Why C is correct? Writing in the discipline, WID, is all about context. It recognizes that writing is not a one-size-fits-all skill. A research paper for a science class is fundamentally different from a literary analysis essay. WID teaches the specific conventions, tone, and formatting of a particular field, like the use of the passive voice in lab reports or the use of in-text citations in social sciences. Why the wrong answers are wrong, A and B. These describe informal or creative writing, not academic writing. WID is formal and discipline-specific. D. While important, grammatical correctness is a part of all writing, not the defining feature of WID. WID goes beyond basic grammar to focus on genre-specific rules. Edge knowledge. The keyword is discipline. When you see this term, think of field of study. The best answer will always relate to a specific subject, like biology, history, or psychology, and its unique writing rules. Question number 2. A student is writing a lab report for a chemistry class. Which of the following sentences is most appropriate for the materials and methods section? A. I was excited to see the reaction when I mixed the chemicals. B. The chemicals were carefully combined to observe the reaction. C. I believe that the chemicals will react with each other. D. Mixing the chemicals was a fun experience. Correct answer: B. The chemicals were carefully combined to observe the reaction. Why B is correct? Scientific writing, particularly in a lab report, requires an objective and formal tone. The use of the passive voice, were carefully combined, is a common convention to emphasize the process or result rather than the person who performed the action. Why the wrong answers are wrong, A and D. These sentences use personal, subjective, and informal language. I was excited, fun experience. This is inappropriate for a formal scientific report. C. This sentence expresses a personal belief or hypothesis, I believe. This should be stated in the introduction or discussion, not in the methods section, which should be a statement of fact about the procedure. Edge knowledge. For scientific writing, think impersonal and factual. The most formal and objective choice will usually be correct. Look for the use of the passive voice, which removes the I and we from the sentence. Question number 3. What is the primary difference between a primary source and a secondary source in academic research? A. A primary source is more important than a secondary source. B. A primary source is written in the past, while a secondary source is written recently. C. A primary source is an original, first-hand account or data, while a secondary source is an analysis or interpretation of primary sources. D. A primary source is a book, while a secondary source is a journal article. Correct answer: C. A primary source is an original, first-hand account or data, while a secondary source is an analysis or interpretation of primary sources. Why C is correct? This is the foundational concept of source classification. A primary source is the original material, e.g., a diary, a raw data set, a photograph, a speech. A secondary source is a text that discusses, interprets, or analyzes primary sources, e.g., a history textbook, a literature review, a biography. Why the wrong answers are wrong? A. Both sources are important for different purposes. Secondary sources provide context and analysis, while primary sources provide raw evidence. B. A primary source can be a very recent tweet, and a secondary source can be a history book written 100 years ago. The key is its originality, not its age. D. Both books and journal articles can be either primary or secondary sources, depending on their content. Edge knowledge. Think of it as first-hand versus second-hand. A primary source is what the researcher created or found, like a diary entry or a lab report. A secondary source is what someone else wrote about the primary source, like a book review or a research paper summarizing other studies. Question number 4. A student writes the following argument in a persuasive essay. Everyone in my class loves the new movie, so it must be the best movie of the year. What logical fallacy is the student using? A. Ad hominem. B. Red herring. C. Bandwagon. D. Hasty generalization. Correct answer. C. Bandwagon. Why C is correct? The bandwagon fallacy, also known as argumentum ad populum, is the claim that an argument is valid because many people believe it. The student's reasoning is that since everyone in my class believes it's the best movie, it must be true. Why the wrong answers are wrong? A. Ad hominem. An attack on the person making the argument, not the argument itself. B. Red herring. An irrelevant topic is introduced to distract from the main issue. D. Hasty generalization. A conclusion is drawn from an insufficient or biased sample. While this is related, the student is generalizing from one class. The specific emphasis on everyone makes bandwagon the more precise fallacy. Edge knowledge. The keyword is everyone or most people. When you see a claim that an idea is good, true, or valid just because it's popular, you've found the bandwagon fallacy. Question number 5. What is the primary purpose of an abstract in a research paper? A. To provide a list of sources used in the paper. B. To give a detailed, section-by-section summary of the paper's contents. C. To introduce the topic and provide background information. D. To briefly summarize the research's purpose, methods, findings, and conclusion. Correct answer. D. To briefly summarize the research's purpose, methods, findings, and conclusion. Why D is correct? An abstract is a concise summary that allows a reader to quickly grasp the essence of the entire paper. It is a standalone summary that helps researchers decide whether they need to read the full paper. Why the wrong answers are wrong? A. This is the function of the bibliography or reference list. B. While it summarizes the paper, an abstract is not a section-by-section summary. It's a holistic overview. C. This is the function of the introduction. Edge knowledge. Think of the abstract as a trailer for a movie. It gives you all the key information, the plot, the characters, the ending, in a very short, condensed format so you can decide if you want to watch the whole thing. Question number 6. A student is using a PA style for her research paper. Which of the following is the correct way to cite a source in the text with an author named Cruz and a publication year of 2020? A. Cruz, 2020. B. Cruz, p. 20. C. Cruz, 2020, argues that. D. A and C are both correct. Correct answer. D. A and C are both correct. Why D is correct? In APA style, both methods are correct ways to cite a source in the text. Parenthetical citation. The author's name and publication year are enclosed in parentheses at the end of a sentence. The study found significant results, Cruz, 2020. Narrative citation. The author's name is part of the sentence, followed by the year in parentheses. Cruz, 2020, argued that the findings were significant. Why the wrong answers are wrong? A and B. These are only half of the correct options. B is also incorrect because it uses a page number without an author's name. C. This is only half of the correct option. Edge knowledge. The edge here is knowing that there are two main ways to cite in APA and MLA. Most students only remember the parenthetical style. Knowing both the narrative and parenthetical styles shows a deeper understanding of citation practices. Question number 7. Which of the following sentences is written with the most objective language? A. The government's new policy is terrible. B. It is widely believed that the government's new policy will fail. C. The government's new policy has faced significant opposition from various sectors. D. I think the government's new policy is a bad idea. Correct answer. C. The government's new policy has faced significant opposition from various sectors. Why C is correct? Objective language is factual and unbiased. It focuses on verifiable information without expressing personal feelings, opinions, or judgments. This sentence states a fact, that the policy has faced opposition, which is a verifiable claim. Why the wrong answers are wrong? A and D. These sentences use highly subjective and emotional language. Terrible, I think, bad idea. B. This sentence is slightly better, but the phrase widely believed still relies on an unverified opinion, making it less objective than a statement of fact. Edge knowledge. To find the most objective sentence, look for the one that sounds like it could be read by a news anchor. It will contain no personal pronouns, I, we, and no loaded adjectives or adverbs, terrible, bad, awful, great. Question number 8. In which of the following sentences is the passive voice used correctly and appropriately for a scientific report? A. We collected the data from the experiment. B. The data was collected from the experiment. C. The data was so cool to collect. D. The experiment's data was collected by us. Correct answer. B. The data was collected from the experiment. Why B is correct? In scientific writing, the passive voice is often used to emphasize the object of the action, the data, rather than the subject, the researchers. The data was collected as a formal and objective way to report a procedure, aligning with scientific conventions. Why the wrong answers are wrong? A. This uses the active voice, which is also correct, but the passive voice is more conventional in scientific reports to maintain objectivity. C. This uses informal, subjective language, so cool. D. While technically passive voice, the phrase bias unnecessarily brings the subject back into the sentence, defeating the purpose of using the passive voice for objectivity. Edge knowledge. Think of the passive voice as robot-like. It states what happened to something without identifying who did it. Look for the phrase was, were plus verb and an absence of I or we. Question number 9. The act of submitting a paper written by someone else as your own is an example of what? A. Proper citation. B. Paraphrasing. C. Plagiarism. D. Summarizing. Correct answer. C. Plagiarism. Why C is correct? Plagiarism is the act of using another person's work or ideas without proper acknowledgement. Submitting a paper written by someone else is the most blatant form of plagiarism. Why the wrong answers are wrong? A. Proper citation is the opposite of plagiarism. It is the correct way to credit sources. B. Paraphrasing is rewriting a passage in your own words, which is correct as long as the source is cited. D. Summarizing is condensing a text's main ideas, which is also correct as long as the source is cited. Edge knowledge. Remember this simple rule. If the idea isn't yours, and you don't say where you got it, it's plagiarism. There's no gray area here. Plagiarism is an ethical breach in any discipline. Question number 10. Read the following paragraph. For centuries, the iconic silhouette of the balangay has graced the waters of the Philippine archipelago, serving as a testament to the maritime prowess of our ancestors. These boats, meticulously constructed without the use of nails or metal, were crucial for trade, exploration, and warfare, linking our islands together long before the arrival of foreign powers. Their sophisticated design demonstrates not only advanced craftsmanship but also a deep understanding of ocean currents and winds, making them a marvel of indigenous engineering. Which of the following is the best topic sentence for this paragraph? A. The balangay is a symbol of ancient Filipino naval power. B. Filipino ancestors used many types of boats. C. Boats in the Philippines were made without nails. D. The balangay was used for trade and war. Correct answer. A. The balangay is a symbol of ancient Filipino naval power. Why A is correct? A topic sentence should state the main idea of the paragraph. The paragraph discusses not just the balangay's use, but its role as a testament to the maritime prowess and a marvel of indigenous engineering. Option A captures this overarching theme of Filipino naval power. Why the wrong answers are wrong? B. This is too broad. The paragraph is only about the balangay. C. And D. These sentences present details from the paragraph but fail to capture the central, controlling idea. They are supporting sentences, not the main topic sentence. Edge knowledge. The topic sentence is the thesis of the paragraph. To find it, ask yourself, what is the one main idea this entire paragraph is trying to prove or explain? Then, choose the sentence that best summarizes that idea, looking for keywords from the paragraph, like prowess and engineering. If this video gave you an edge, sharpen that like button and subscribe to stay ahead.